Hello and welcome to this continuing first look exploring session looking at Club Law, a comedy acted in Clare Hall, Cambridge, sometime around 1599, 1600. We have looked at the first third or so of the play. Apart from where there are breaks, there are some gaps in the text. Sadly, we're going to have to make up some stuff if we ever stage this because we don't have the opening. But we have had a lot of fun with this. It's a little self-indulgent at times, it would be fair to say, of the sort of town and gown entertainment stuff going on. I'm sure there's lots of in-jokes we're not getting because history has lost them to the mists of time. But we have generally enjoyed Act 1 and Act 2. We're now going to continue with Act 3 with this crazy gang of people who are going to read some of these fun parts. And reading today Cricket and handing the baton of a joint part of Catch is...
Hi, I'm Greg. Sounds like I'm going to have a really good summer's day, so I should get the strawberry tea out.
Breeding Puff, Colby, Luce, and Wench is...
Hi, I'm Eric. I don't have to be crazy, but I'm trained, so it's fine.
Reading Purcus and Mistress, Colby again is...
I just love being a naughty girl. Angela, London.
Sugar cakes are available. Reading Tavie, Second Collier, and Rumford is...
Hi, I'm Desna from Lancaster.
Reading Catch and the early part of the text, and as well as Musonius and Trott is...
Sarah Blake, here for the afternoon tea with or without sugar cakes.
Reading a Sergeant, Third Collier, Philenius, and Bromly is...
Hi, it's Tom from Brighton.
And reading Niphill, First Collier, and Spooner, or Sponner, is...
Liza Graham, uttering many spoonerisms here in London.
And I'm your host, Robert Crighton. I will be reading stage directions and or any random part that just, the doubling just didn't work. We still need a lot more readers, frankly, to make this some of these scenes work. So we may be talking to ourselves at times, but hopefully the situation all will work. I should also just, for the record, state, it's been a week since we read the first session of this, so we may have forgotten what's going on. But yeah, town gown stuff. Cricket left the scene at the end of Act 2, Scene 6, so we can infer that there were definitely intervals or mini breaks in between acts as we go into Act 3, Scene 1, and Cricket enters.
You rascal Colby, you. If I've been on your skirts, if all hold, let me put into the black bill. By great chance I had no sooner gone hence, but I presently met with two gentlemen, who after I had certified them of it, you would not think what a company of good fellows they gave me, and presently they got a writ to attach him from Mr. Rector. Now, sir, they themselves are watching at in a friend's house, and I am here, very well employed, a scout to espy his coming, and then certify them of it, and call them out, so that they are but my adjuvants. I am the chief agent in this matter. You shall see how gallantly you will perform it. Let me see. What time of night is it? It is not much past 10 o'clock, and I warrant you it'll be 11 ere this Collier Lake hornmonger come. What? Shall I stand here all this while, like John Drone? Faith, I shall sleep. Oh, well, I cannot. I must have some trick or other. What? Let me see my instruments. What a plague. I came up with this rope. Oh, now I know, surely. We'll use this. How? What if I strangle the next fellow that comes and get on his back and hang up on the rope? I can do it in a trice, as well as the best hangman of them all. No, I will not. At least I shall cry guiltily before Mr. Burgomaster, and he shall say, "Here I die to by the name of Nicholas Cricket." Now I have found it. So Yeah, I'll tie my rope and see what fortune will befall me. Oh God, how could I but break one of their necks? I'm a most happy man. Let me see. Is my voice clear? It will serve. Murder! Murder! I'm slain! Help! Help! Mr. Burgomaster! Help! Murder! Murder!
And we're just going to briefly pause there to get into the zone of what's been going on here. So this interesting little sort of return to what's going on here with Cricket. And Cricket, he finds a bit of rope. There's a stage direction after this little speech. A rope was tied at Mr. Burgomaster's door. It's sort of a little late in the day to say that's where the rope was. You should have set that at the beginning of the speech, presumably, so that he can then play with it. But it's like he just sees the rope and goes, what can I do with the rope? Well, I could strangle someone. I could use it to ride them like a horse. So many things. And now he's found it. He's figured out what he's going to do next. Isn't Cricket a caution? Liza.
Yeah, I mean, what we thought of in the last session was that Cricket is basically the Vice. But he's also a sort of audience proxy in that he comments on the action and says, oh my god, aren't these people terrible? And weirdly enough, even though he's a pretty terrible child, yet he will expose wrongdoing, perhaps. Maybe. I can't possibly say. So yes, he's strung a piece of string across the steps, and we shall see what happens.
Yeah. So yes, in fact, we'll be going into that in just a moment. Eric.
Well, there's also, like, last time he was kind of reporting how, someone was basically sort of stowing away corn or something, if I remember correctly, to raise the prices.
So that's what the burgomasters are up to, isn't it?
Yeah. Colby, the Collier, is going to forestall the market by taking away some. He's a collier, but he's going to take away some coal, so it'll be in short supply and it'll be more expensive. I think that was the gist. Angela, was I right about that?
No, it's corn. It's corn that he's taking.
Oh, he's taking away corn.
He's like going to buy up the corn in the market, and it'll force all the prices up and make all the students unhappy.
Mm. And Cricket's overheard all of this, so he knows the cunning stuff that's going on. So he in a sense he's doing good in his mischievous way. Eric.
But at the same time, he's just kind of like standing around going, I'm bored. What did I do? Yeah.
Yeah, not saying that is in any way true to life at all. Yeah. Me this morning. Anyway, we will continue with what we will call Act 3, Scene 2, even though it's a continuation of the same scene. Enter Niphill, Tavie, Puff, Catch. As they come out of the door, Cricket trips up their heels with a rope and beats them with his club.
Ooh, ow, ow.
Lord, will you murder me?
No, I'll not stay.
And he steps aside.
The pox on her, puff great knave almost wreck her pack.
Nay, I am clean spoiled. Good Mr. Burgomaster, rise.
This is strange, afore God! A rope before my door! What a piece of knavery is this? Look about if you can see any of these crack ropes.
The pox on her, was take her heels.
I'll warrant you he's gone a good mile by this time.
Not so far, but he sees you.
Oh, I have hurt my leg shrewdly.
I would thou hadst broke thy neck.
This is some tatter-tailed Athenian, but if I live, I'll make them keep their lodgings. They shall not go about our streets at this time of night.
Shall we be gone, sir? 'Tis something late.
You may be gone, but Tavie, stay.
Nay then, I'll come a step nearer.
God give your worships good night.
At exit Sergeants Puff and Catch.
Now, thou and I am here alone. I need not stand upon points.
Na'r answer a, ship tell her of points and knacks and knaveries. and to know her love flesh, but what is her will and desire?
In faith, Mr. Burgomaster, are you a muttermonger?
And as Cricket says that, he takes a step nearer.
Faith, Tavie, I was at thy house today, and there I saw the pretty wench which thou toldst me of before. I like her well. She looks like a good, wholesome wench, and to be short, we magistrates are but men, and therefore follow venery, and therefore, Tavie, I must use her. I tell thee in plain terms, I must quench this natural heat.
I would I had the quenching of it.
But when will her come? Shall what's her will?
Faith, honest Davy, I cannot hold out long. Lust grows on, and therefore, I prithee, see she be ready against 12 of the clock, and then I'll come. But Davy, be secret, for if you let a rag-tailed Athenian know of it, you undo us all.
Aye, no, let not them know it.
Nay, and Tavie Prater take her neck off, give her a word. But how shall her know her from a knave?
Aye, marry, there is no such word in all the dictionary.
Marry, well remembered, thus it shall be. I'll knock thrice, and call Tavie, and then, if I be he, I'll say, I burn.
Well then, if her do not say I burn, her must not let her in.
No, in any case, I'll warrant thee, I'll say so.
Well, her going and have her priddled and saddled against her our ships come.
I do. This lust torments me. I'll go in and disguise myself and come to the good girl presently.
Exit horny Niphill.
Fortune, thou favourite'st us. Whatever we do, some happy event or other presently ensues. And is it not you, mechanic slaves, who cry out upon us wretches, and yourselves such bawdy knaves? How I triumph in this, that we may cry out to this lecherous villain, terror of his wholesome girl and of his burnings. If we could do nothing else, we'll fill all the town full of rhymes of him. We'll paint all the boggarts with papers, and so disgrace him that we'll make him hang himself. Oh, go tell Musonius me presently. But stay, here there comes my mark. I stand aside and hear my logger paint.
And once again, Cricket takes a step to one side. Act 3, Scene 3. Enter Colby, prying about.
I think my stars, here's all fallen out as I would have.
Aye, I was told so.
And here's no creature stirring.
Yet blind Bayard, he's a bear, will bite you.
Come on, good fellows, all is passing by.
The Colliers enter.
I'll go to the gentleman presently to come and take them.
And exit Cricket.
Now, afore God, I cannot but laugh at these vile Athenians. They count as simple when they are themselves most foolish. Here is a simple trick, I promise you. Fill my sacks' mouths full of coals, whereas their bellies be stuffed with corn. I marvel which of them would have invented such a thing.
First Collier, Liza.
Nay, if it come to invention, God help them. What have they in their lodgings that is good and necessary, but they have it from us? Their larder house, their bakehouse, their kitchen, no, not so much of their house of office and their backsides. Only they make theirs to differ from ours in name and in bigness.
Well said, fellow John. I perceive thou carriest something else besides burthens. I would have been hanged if any one of these corner-capped slaves in the town could have made such a speech to so good purpose in a whole day.
What a wondering keeps thou at him? And if his wit were not common to all, why, I tell thee, the very name porter signifies no less than witty. Doth any man send a fool with a burden, or an ass with an errand?
If he do, let him be sure to send the crier after him, or else go seek himself like a fool when he hath done.
Nay, I thank God I was never sent of an errand, but I could do it well enough and return home without sending for.
Yet once, fellow Dick, do not you remember how you accused a stone instead of a gentle Athenian for tripping you up your heels and biting you by the buttocks when he had done?
Harry, you make my worship merry. Here be merry fellows indeed. How can a man choose but have his work done when he hath such a company of witty fellows about it? Hold, here's one groat more to Dickford when he comes home for this. But I fear me we stay too long. The bargemen think we'll never come. Oh wait, take the sacks and let's be gone.
When you please, sir.
Sir,
Well, lead you the way and we'll follow.
And Act 3, Scene 4. Enter Musonius, Philenius, Cricket and his company with Colby and the Colliers still on stage with their bags of corn with some coal on top.
Here be they be. Make haste quickly, or else they will be gone.
Alas, we're betrayed. Make haste and shift for yourselves.
Nay, help! Help! I want to go!
They will not yield. Down with them.
Oh, Mr. Colby, well met. What business have you to be abroad now?
Why, sir, about my business to send a few coals down by water. I hope, sir, you can take no offence by it.
neither can you if you search out the truth.
Hey, you need not. We know it. We know it.
Peace, boy.
I am killed with this word, boy.
Sarah, search you them, Cricket.
Yeah, if I search not every hole, can hang me and say I'm an onion. Come, Sarah, you porter, let's see your sack. Open it, knave.
Knave? How many such knaves do your father keep?
Open it all!
Open it, I will open it.
Aye, sir, you shall have it open.
Should I give a bushel for these coals?
They be sold already.
What's here? Oh, your market is spoiled. Coal turned into corn.
A strange metamorphosis.
So strange that it will turn him into the jail.
By what authority?
By a writ from Mr. Rector.
Aye. Come, Mr. Colby, you must be my prisoner.
Nay, good gentleman.
How now? Who hath the writ now? Alas, we are simple fellows. We can do nothing but that we see done before. It is a marvel you should not teach us this. Come, bring them away. I'll teach you a trick ere we part with you, as shall cost you the setting on.
Hey, good gentleman, let me go. I'll do anything for you.
Come, come, you rogue, follow us.
Nay, I beseech you pardon us. We did but jest.
It is but folly to entreat. We are inexorable. Had I not heard it with my ears, I could scarcely have believed you could have invented it. And shall I then pocket up these cozenages for a few relenting speeches? No, no. But what punishment the law will afford, be ye sure ye shall have it. Carry them away, I say.
Good, sweet, fast gentleman. Speak for us.
Down on your knees there, good fellows. Pray heartily.
It is in vain. I cannot, neither will I pardon you.
Alas, alas, that I was ever born. What will become of my poor wife?
I care not. I hope my master will bear my charges.
And they exit. So we'll just pause there. We've had a lot of business. A lot of business has happened in a very, very, very short space of time. So Cricket's gag with the rope has meant that the new burgomaster Niphill has been tripped over, and as everybody else is tripped over, that's quite a complicated stage bit of business actually having people run on stage and trip over a rope and then fall in. If anyone's seen Clue, the bit when they all come rushing together and go thump like that and collapse down, that's how I'm seeing this particular moment here of sort of comedy, physical business. But it's, again, incredibly difficult to do safely. You can do it effectively. I'm not sure you can do it safely. I'm not sure to get the maximum out of the gag. But then, you know, it's 1600. Health and safety hasn't been invented yet. People regularly die at these gigs, so this is fine. So, you know. But Cricket just standing in the background, just constantly doing these asides, just constantly going, ha, 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 ha. Look what's coming next. But yeah, it's not making Niphill any nicer, is it? He's just going, no, right, that's it. That's the last straw. We're coming down hard on these people now. And then he gets, the moment everyone leaves, he goes horny cakes all over us. I mean, he's not holding back there at all in the level of his lust. Liza.
Well, I mean, to the extent that this is a political comedy, this is pretty much a thing that has been the downfall of politicians since politicians existed, is just unbridled lust, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they use this.
Yes, it is very, very yes. There's a sleaze scandal in high office here, isn't it? Yeah, and yes, Tavie as general fixer there, which then leads us on to their other scheme, which is of course the sneaking of the corn disguised as coals, which of course Cricket uncovers, and Philenius and Musonius are there to have it to see the uncovering of it all and bring it out into the open. They might not understand what this human thing called kissing is, but those two can definitely recognise coals rather than corn, and vice versa. Other thoughts in the room? Who wants to leap in? I'm enjoying this so far. There's a lot of good business. Eric.
I'm trying to remember why Cricket has allied himself with Musonius and Philenius, because I know that he has, like, sort of, he's kind of in between things. He's not really, he's playing both sides, if I remember correctly, but I can't remember why he's doing this, aside from, like, I'm bored, I'll just do this and mess people's lives up.
Well, I suppose there's a certain order to this universe. You know, Cricket is going to be automatically against the burgomasters because they're horrible killjoys. He will be more on the side of the academics, Musonius and Philenius, but they are in an authority position. So if he can use them to get at the burgomasters, I think he'll be very much on their side. But of course, they also potentially could go against him if you know. So in this context, he'll use them. Because, you know, he needs someone in authority to discover this corn hoarding thing. So he's got to use them in that sense. But that doesn't mean he won't throw things randomly or something. You know, because he'll get bored. He's Cricket. That's what he does. Creates mischief. But he seems to be on the side of the angels. Other thoughts? Otherwise, I'm just going to keep saying words. They'll get less coherent as I go on. Otherwise, I'll make you say words using my magical powers of saying which act and what scene we're doing. Nope, nobody's got anything else? Right, okay, we'll continue the scene. We have been left with... the Colliers have been taken away, but we have left on stage Cricket and Musonius. Having a bit of a post-Collier exit conflab.
Nay, Mr. Musonius, you must needs stay with me. You shall not go.
And I, prithee good wag, why must I bear thee company?
Nay, I'll have you entreat me, I have it, and I'll have it will pepper them.
Prithee good. Now impart it unto us.
Well, sir. First know that I does not stay you, but upon some extraordinary occasions.
Well, sir, what ensues?
Marry, sir, there is good lusty hour and tour at this Welsh rogue's house, and to be short, Mr. Niphill, as it means to call, is lust, and to do something within this hour he will come. I heard Tavie say he was her was very, can't do Welsh accent, very good wench. God be praised and blessed for it.
Away, you rascal! It is impossible.
I cannot tell, but I'm sure as I was watching for Mr. Colby, I heard a right down match between Niphill and Tavie. This is it a man shall get for doing his endeavour.
Nay, I prithee, good man, be not so choleric. I believe thee well. I'll watch this night. Oh, that I had but a writ now. I go presently and raise Mr. Rector and fetch one. Thou, good lad, shall be lingering hereabouts to stay Philenius and his company. If they come, do, good Cricket, I pray thee.
Oh, God, Mr. Musonius, make haste, I play my part. Oh, Musonius, God send thee good fortune to send the Lord Governor of the jail into the jail.
Exit Musonius.
Methinks I see the villain, how pitifully he looks when he is taken in his lechery. How shall I pass away this night? Very cold, in faith. Well, faith, I'll go and get me heat, and let me see, what is the watchword? Knock. Twice. Call Tavie, and I burn. Tavie.
How is it keep such a rip-rap at the door?
I burn. Open the door.
Nay, our ship shall quench her by and by. We'll put her fire out. Come in.
Aye. I'll set you in with a powder.
And Cricket fells Tavie.
Scald, Peggy knave, let her burn, and her serve us such another prank, I will never serve God more. Well, will in and shut the door. Shall not burn here.
And exit Tavie.
God grant that my knavery God grant that my knavery keep not Niphill out of doors. Not for a world of treasures it should fall out so. But I know the lecherous knave will strangle her before I will be denied. Here it comes. All away and hasten the company.
Exit Cricket. Before we go into the entrance of Niphill, just want to check what sort of prank he does when because he knocks on the door crying fire, fire, presumably to get Tavie to come out. When he says Cricket fails Tavie, is he just doing exactly the same trick he did with the rope earlier, or is he just whacking him one with a club? Angela, did I miss something?
He's pretending to be Niphill, because this is the password. The password is to knock 3 times, call for Tavie, and say, I burn.
Yeah.
So
but in terms of then, what does he do? Does he hit him?
Well, it looks like he fells him, yeah, so he kind of knocks him to the ground.
Because I'm just wondering if he was using the rope from earlier and he just trips him up or something.
Well, the title of the play is Club Law, and I quite like Cricket going around whomping people on the head with a club. It also kind of ties him to the Harlequin in Italian Commedia, who tends to have a club. Anyway.
Eric?
Well, also in the previous scene, he and the others had clubs. He tripped people up and then we clubbed them. So that would track.
And your heart either sinks or leaps when he just stands there going, "What shall I do now? I'm bored again." It's just I could wait, or I could just hit Tavie because it's fun. Angela.
Well, actually, thinking of that, if he has a club with him, it throws a different light into this little conversation with Musonius when he says, "Oh, you can't go because I want to tell you this other thing." But if he was swinging a club about as well, you can imagine him going, "Oh, it's all right. I'm not going to hit you with this." So it could be quite a nice little bit of business there.
Have club will travel. Other thoughts? Eric.
Or it could go the other way, where it's like sort of he's intimidating Musonius into staying, depending on how you play it.
Options. I like options. Okay, let's... Tom.
Is this club law a natural state of affairs, or is it just at a certain time of a year where the rough justice comes out, or is it rough justice that happens all the time, or is it just some sort of mummery and madness that happens on special occasions?
I think in this instance, it's what's happening now that the students are out of control, as far as the town is concerned. I don't think it's a purge situation or anything like that, or going or a Lords of Misrule, to be slightly closer to the early modern. Yeah, I think it's more just generally where the town is in relation to the university, in their relations with each other. It's all got a bit lawless, but hilarious because it's cricket and he's presumably very small, so it's not proper violence. It's comedy violence. It'll be fine. Act 3, Scene 5. We have Niphill Solus.
Methinks men in authority should not be moved with love, as I am. I cannot tell the reason, but my wife pleaseth me not. I must naturally go abroad of my conscience. I think all magistrates are of my mind, or else I am sure my mind would not be so moved with it. But now, what do I mean? To endanger myself? What if the gentle Athenians should know of it, were it not much to lose my good name? Stay, Niphill, stay, temper thyself, Niphill, temper thyself with chastity. Oh, Niphill cannot, Niphill must needs to this gear. I and Niphill shall. Why, but, Niphill, thou must provide for the worst. Aye, thou shalt, thou didst perform thy office, and then they that dare let them but touch Niphill, if they do upon their own peril be it. But why do I stay from my delight? This is Tavie's house. I'll knock. Here is all very close. I must knock thrice. Tavie, Tavie.
Who knocks at her door?
I burn, I burn.
Let her burn, and pox and plague and all the devils in hell on her, answer Will. Her shall fetch no fire here, water here.
What a knave is this? I tell thee, knave, 'tis I, the head of this city.
Why, shitty knave, her will knock her on the head, cousin her so again, and say Tavie was a very fool, let her pip back where her list for Tavie.
But what a knave is this to speak so loud? Why, Tavie, it is Niphill.
Right, tell her a tale of it, so her was even now was a not true. Yeah, get her packing, or her will get set her packing with a pox.
This it is to trust Welsh vagabonds. Lust pricks on sore, I must entreat. Nay, Tavie, what meanest thou to use me so? I am thy friend, Niphill.
Right, her good friend, Precker Pete, Ferrycott's friend, her will get her down. Her will take her belch sword, her will have her blood.
What a rogue is this? Prithee, do but look out and see.
See, aye, and so put out her eyes. Her will take her sword, put on her puff shirken, on her skull, not take her heels. Her will have her blood.
Why, what ails thee to be so scrupulous? Come, prithee, let's come in.
Oh, he's here. Oh, keep her out. Let her look upon her.
Why, Tavie, what meanest thou to use me thus?
Mary, come in and follow her, and her can tell her. Her was abused before, but command her will make her quiet.
Is she there?
Aye, follow her. Her shall find her.
This is somewhat. Yet make all sure, I prithee.
And exit. Just want to pause there because we did. I think someone's put it in the chat, but it was just in my mind of this Smeagol moment at the beginning of just going, I should do this. Back and forth ness that I enjoyed very, very much. And of course, we had the setup here for Tavie not letting Niphill in because, of course, he got clonked on the head last time. So taking no chances there. Any thoughts in the room on the precious Eric?
Well, it's not like we've not had this before. I mean, we've seen this in, I think it was, what was it, Fortunio and I want to say Federico, but it's not Federico. Fedele and Fortunio. Where, you know, people were locked out of the house and then they were banging on the door to be let in. And obviously they weren't let in because, you know, no one lets people in at that time of night. And also the maid / nurse did not approve of the person knocking on the door because he was a scurvy cur or something. And yeah, it was just, yeah, this is pretty much similar joke, except you just want someone to, you know, give you a motive to get inside and someone to give you a motive to keep the other person out.
Yeah, and it does seem Niphill's desperation seems very real as well. It seems like there's a great deal of urgency to get in there. I don't know if he's just taken, you know, a fistful of Viagra in preparation or something, but, you know, it does feel like, you know, lust pricks me on sore. I'd better be nice to him, otherwise I'm not getting in. There's a lot of comic potential to Niphill, or potentially nipple, depending on how you want to say it. There's definitely some nipple gags in there somewhere. So anyway, let's continue because the action flows on, as it were. Act 3, Scene 6. Musonius cricket with others. Purcus, Trott, Spooner, searchers, etc. A lot of people are suddenly on stage.
See now how I am for these hoyden Athenians in faith. Now I have the same Scottish dagger. I limbed it the finest you would not think. I cut it from my tutor's side as he was leaning on his window looking on a book. He never perceived me. Now haven't you your slaves, you high brave lads, high?
I had no sooner got to Mr. Rector's lodging, but presently he gave it me in his bed and greatly commended our studies. Oh, let us see what company we have here. What shall we do with this little ape among us?
Oh, Mr. Musonius, there's a question why I'll do more at the hoisting of a clown than the greatest looby of them all.
Aye, but you must trudge homeward. Why, they will say we are all boys if they should see you. Come, you must be gone.
I must be gone. Here is a great stock, but have no more metal in him than your whelp, and he must go because he is little bigger than I. I know he must be gone.
How this boy prates. You will play the rake hell.
If you think not well of my company, I will not trouble you. This is all that I have for helping this to this opportunity. I'll make a show, but I will not leave you so.
He goes by a little. We can infer that maybe exit cricket, ? Act 3, Scene 7, enter Philenius and his company, joining Musonius and his company.
Are you gone? Fare you well. I wonder why Philenius stays so long.
Because he hasn't had the stage direction, which I read slightly early. Enter Philenius here.
Faith, Mr. Colby hath but a cold lodging, but methinks I see some company before us. My masters, you must stand to it. Here is some false knaves abroad. Who is there?
A friend.
The word. Down with him.
Nay, Philenius, hold! Hold! It is Musonius.
Musonius? If thou hast not spake, we had made you taste the club law. But why are you here? I wonder thou didst not follow us.
Thou mayst presume some urgent occasion hath detained me.
I prithee let us know.
To make any discourse would be too tedious. Only mark the event and follow me. I tell thee, I am the officer. This is the house. Who's within here? Open the door.
What will appear down on her door? Who is here?
Mary, we come from Mr. Rector's with authority to search your house for certain suspicious persons.
Oh, Mr. Niphill. Oh, the search. The rector's search is come. What will you do?
Search? Alas, what shall I do? Keep them out!
Cat's blood can tell her how. Away.
What shall we attend all this night upon this rogue's pleasure? Burst open the door.
Nay, I shall not need. Be not over hasty. What will her need search by could her scorn to keep pip-pap in her house?
Come, let's in.
Nay, gentlemen, let her crave that not above 2 or 3 in.
Prithee, keep the door, let none come in.
Marry, her do so had need, hers was Luce coverlet and napkins.
Come, let's see what strangers you have here. Open that door. How now? What wench is this?
Is her sister?
Nay, if she be his sister, let us in too.
And they enter in.
What's a pox will let her all the town in?
Rise, huswife, and make yourself ready.
For your pleasure, sir?
This is strange, he should escape us.
Nay, we must find him out.
Oh God! How am I persecuted by a company of gentle Athenians? Oh, would to God I had kept myself with the good man. I had never been so troubled. Oh, lust, lust! What danger am I come into by thy procuring? But what shall I do? Whither shall I go that I may hide myself? Oh, that men in authority should never be in such adversity. Let me see. Here's a tub. I'll creep in here. They will never suspect it.
Act 3, Scene 8. Enter Cricket. Ooh, we lost Cricket.
What's there creeping into a tub? Oh, my life, Mr. Burgomaster escaped the search. I'm glad I am come back again. I'll stand by and say nothing.
Nay, good gaffer, do not hurt me. I'm a poor beggar wench. For the passion of God, do not beat me. I did not know it was your tub.
Hold thy peace, good wench. I do not mean to hurt thee.
Oh, you will. But God, what shall become of me?
I tell thee, I will not. Lie still, and I will give thee 2pence. For God's sake, lie still.
And for the listeners at home, I should just point out that the wench was in the tub and Niphill has got in the tub with the wench. So, yes.
You had good as certify us where he is. You'll injure yourself more than you think of.
As Cotcheleb Pesola has run away.
Come, let's after him. We may overtake him ere he come at his house.
Content. Why, you little villain, what make you here?
Faith, I could not lose your company if I come back again presently. But where is he? Where is he?
You are a fine boy. I dost venture my life. He was never here.
Come, here's a dress. My credit was never cracked yet. I must it now be called into question. It stands upon my good name, fame, and reputation. I cannot endure it. Well, will you let me be the captain of the search?
Away, dost thou deride us?
By this good candidate, I mean plain honesty. Turn it on to me and I'll find him. I'll warrant you.
Nay then, good boy. To it. Let's see thy skill.
Oh, chopper there, Lockwood, a plague on that cur. He lies out for us to break his legs here. Dainty the dog trailed him out. There he goes. A start, help.
How now? What's here?
Here's the game, but it will not rise.
We'll offer it. Fair play. Out with it.
Hold your hands, for God's sake, 2 woeful wretches near starved for cold.
The game is turned into 2. Oh, Mr. Burgomaster, go give you joy of your bedfellow.
Nay, good sir, go not away. Well, bear you company. Now, I assure you, I am very sorry it was your fortunes to trouble you. Nevertheless, I'll make you amends ere I part with you.
Nay, fie, keep thee.
Nay, good gentleman, let me go. I had been gone long ago. If it had not been for him, he had kept me in, so he did.
What did he do to thee?
Nay, if he likes so well your company, I will not offer him that injury to part you so soon. You shall go together. We will leave you as we found you.
In a tub? Here's a tale of a tub indeed.
Why, I hope you found me doing no ill, but executing my office. Are we not straitly charged to look to vagabonds and beggars? And shall I then be taunted and mocked for creeping into a tub to pull out a beggar wench that hath offended the law?
Truly, Gaffer, he meant no such thing. He bade me lie still and would give me 2p.
What? A 2 quid?
How say you, Mr. Burgomaster? Is this the executing of your office? Is this the cause you walk the streets so late at night?
Well, go to, mock on, and see what will come of it. It is not the words of a rascally wench can justify that which you have done. I'll make you repent that ever you did injure me in this sort.
It may be so, if you could find the means how. But notwithstanding whatsoever happened unto us, we be not dismayed. Nay, look up, look up. We have cause to sorrow, not you. Now, on your credit, it was a deed of great policy. Better in a tub, man, than in a churchyard, as some of you have done.
Yet best of all in the jail. Will it please you to see your chamber, sir? It is ready.
What? I to the jail? Am I not Mr. Nicholas Niphill, that can command both jail and jailer? Shall I then be led as prisoner to the jail? Oh, that I had but my men at my heels, I would try who should go to the jail.
You to the jail, as though men in your place have not been in the jail for some such like knavery.
Nay, good Mr. Niphill, do not refuse our kindness. What we do is for your good. I'll assure you the prisoners cannot choose but think well of you. What is a groat for a garnish? Upon my life, if you think much at it, your sweetheart will pay half of it.
Come, you shall go.
And shall I too?
I marry Mr. Burgomaster, and you shall have both one chamber.
Aye, marry shall you. This 'tis to trust a Welsh rascal, that for any light again will sell his own father. Is it possible he should reveal your secrets?
Is it even so? If I be not even with him, let Niphill be no more himself. Never trust me. I scorn you and all such villains. I will not go. I will answer you by the law.
Nay, you will answer it. You'll go?
No!
Will you be carried then, sir? Aye. Because he is a man of state, it shall be so. Take him, my masters, and put him into his tub of state,
No!
and bravely on your shoulders carry him with triumph through the streets.
Help! Citizens, help!
He is put in the tub.
Help!
Nay. Would you have more help, sir? I warrant you, these will carry you well enough.
Let him have his mistress with him for company.
The wench is put in the tub as well.
Come, masters, you have great ass. Off we stop.
Lord, shall I be killed? Shall I be killed?
Shall she be carried with me to disgrace me too?
To disgrace you, no. But lest you should be proud of this great triumph after the ancient manner, we shall have this poor servant to be carried with you, that you may be humbled at the sight of her. Well now, you may march away.
O most stately, most fine, gallant, witty burgomaster, brave Diogenes in a tub. This is the daintiest sport, this doth be good at heart, the very heart.
My masters, go to Tavie's house and bring the queen after us. I'll go see Mr. Burgomaster fast laid up. Purcus, look to it. She shall be your charge.
Everybody exits apart from Purcus.
We'll bring her, sir. What ho? You come there?
And we're just going to pause there as we go into the next unit of action. But yeah, Niphill, who I think, just for the pure comedic potential of Niphill, that's just going to have to stay, because it's just so perfect, isn't it? Aye, Niphill! it fits the tone of this. I just love the way he's trying to brazen it out. And the question here is really down to, there's a lot of interesting stage business questions here of how the location of the searching the house works, because it's almost like the house, the doors at the front of the building swing open and they can go in and do some stuff, and then they're back outside again, and how they end up with the tub, and how all that business works. When Niphill comes on stage at first, how much clothing does he have on? Because I think it's important that he's not properly dressed. I don't think he should be naked, because they would mention it, but I think he definitely needs to have his trousers on the wrong way round, or something, so that when he tries to brazen it out later on, saying, I was just doing my duty, there should be something that's a clear giveaway, especially as the wench sort of goes, he didn't do anything such thing. He offered me money to lie down quietly with me. And I was just offering her a lift, officer. Honest. Angela.
Well, surely there must also be water in this tub. So the whole thing's quite hilarious, because he's going to stand up all wet, isn't he? So I guess he can have his shirt on, his undershirt, his famous linen shirt. Liza was telling us all about that last time. So he could have his linen shirt and, something all undone, I guess. But he's drenched. I mean, he's got to be, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just this idea of him trying to almost hold her under everybody under the water at the beginning as well. It's almost like they should have a snorkel. There's so much fun that could be had with this, above and beyond what is actually written here. Eric.
See, the way I understood that was that the tub was like something that they were going to get rid of, or something outside, and like he had crawled out of the window. So he was outside, so they found him outside. I don't know, maybe that's just sort of the way maybe they had a specific way of arranging the stage. But I felt quite bad for the wench, because it's like she got into trouble without actually being involved in the whole thing. It's like, yeah. Also, because I thought it was outdoors because they mentioned that she's a beggar. And it just seems a bit, I don't know if that's just a description of her clothing, or sort of actually what she's doing.
Is she just some random stranger who was quite poor, just trying to do a wash and a brush up in the outside tub, or is this someone from inside who has been wheeled out in an attempt to make the house look less disorderly? Liza.
I think she was sleeping in the tub. I think she's supposed to be a vagrant off the streets, who was looking for a place to sleep and has fallen asleep in the tub. Is the tub in the house or outside the house? It might be outside the house. I don't know. Anyway, she says, "I didn't know it was your tub." And I think it's funnier if perhaps she's intended to look physically unappealing. Maybe she has some teeth blacked out, or,
do you see, that's the thing. Is that funnier than if it was someone from within the house, and who's been wheeled out, and they're trying to, it depends what scale of an operation Tavie is running here.
It's true. Maybe he's doing a Philip Henslow.
Yeah, because if it's just some poor random stranger, then actually the scene becomes quite mean, and I'm not sure that keeps the comedy hijinks up. And I'm quite keen on.
She does say she's a beggar wench. She says, "I'm a poor beggar wench."
But she could be lying. You see, this is where that could be a tale, or at least that's in my view. That would make the scene funnier. Whereas if she is a beggar, then it takes the edge off it actually being funny.
Well, but at the same time, it's kind of socially just that a beggar should undo the highest person in the city, and with her honesty about, Anyway, sorry, I talked over several people raising their hands. Bad Liza.
That's all right. I don't know who was next. Eric?
I was just gonna say, yeah, that I thought she was like sort of the impression I got was just kind of like someone who'd fell asleep in a tub and just woke up there, or like someone homeless, and it's like his final act of sort of desperation is to hide in this tub, which is basically like might even be her home for the night or something, or what, shelter for the night, which is really, really mean. But also,
but then it can't be full of water.
Yeah. But also, what I was thinking was, if they're gonna arrest her and take her to jail with him, it just kind of feels a bit like sort of, yay, shelter for the night, which is depressing.
Well, is the tub full of water, or is it upside down?
I don't think it's full of water. That's the thing. Is I think you're right. It seems to be an outdoor thing, but that doesn't mean that the scene cannot be massaged to make it that way. That's my thinking. Is that it depends on where the play goes. But I'm just thinking it's a funnier scene if it goes that way than possibly the other way, because I want to maximise the number of potential laughs, and I just like that option. But I suspect that's not where the scene actually is taking us. I think it's you're right that it's a vagrant has been sleeping in an outside tub and has been using it for shelter, and he climbs in there and is found looking compromised from that position. So it would be ironic that he gets done for something innocent, but I now worry about the wench, you see, who doesn't have a name. We should give her a name. Anyway, Eric, no, we need to move on, sadly. Hold
it
on
was
to that
more a
thought.
question, just sort of, how big is this tub?
Enough for two. Daisy. So that's the wench's name from now on. Right, Act 3, Scene 9. Enter searchers, Tavie and Luce. Purcus is probably still on stage.
I pray, let us stay a little. The candle is out.
Come away, I say.
You'll give me leave, I hope, to make me ready. Brother, I didn't think I should have been disquieted in your house thus.
How the pox came you to be of kindred? She speaks not in the throat as you do.
Was better brought up. Thank her good Uncle Morgan.
What, must we stay all night?
I pray your airships be not angry. Was come by and by.
Bring her out as she is.
Come, Sister Luce. Make the gentleman angry. We'll do her no harm, I warrant her.
Let the proudest of them all do me harm if they dare. I pray bid your company come out. There are some of them have filched my gloves there, and my busk point. I hope you will have me see them again.
Yes. Vast warrant herself.
I too would jest. I want nothing but a little sleep. Faith, gentlemen, you do me wrong. You awaked me out of the finest dream I have had this 12 months.
Faith, Luce, what was thy dream?
Faith, lad, that my ring was drawn on thy finger, but thou shalt never have my maidenhead.
I think so indeed.
Faith, I warrant thee, she's one of those housewives.
True, Roger, your shins burn.
Luce, thou knowest Bridget Bolton.
Jesus, sweetheart, art thou there? I did not see thee before. I hope thou wilt not carry me to prison.
And she kisses him.
Spooner, art thou not ashamed? Truly, I would not for £100 she should know me so.
Know thee? Didst thou come to me once when thou hadst a single groat in thy purse, and I would not, and thou offeredst to pawn me thy hatband?
Fie on thee! Fie on thee! Thy tongue is no slander.
Bromly, kill her with a jest. Put her down in her own kind.
I'll have a fling at her.
Fling at me, God's body. I'll see your heart out first.
My meaning is not so.
Is it so, booby? Then keep your wind to cool your pottage. But what would it say if it could speak now? Let us hear it ruffle in rhetoric.
I say I account in none of my meanest misfortunes to have met with thee in regard.
Faith, this fellow hath studied plays. Well. Didst ever see Orlando Furioso, sirrah?
No, but I have seen Linus Now I see thee.
What is she?
A whore.
God's nails, a horse. Take that, rascal.
And she strikes him.
Nay, if you cannot hold your hands, come along.
I come along. You're all rascals.
Pray, gentlemen. To not, come, cannot keep a tongue, cannot give good words to them.
Nay, let her alone. We will charm her tongue well enough, drab as she is.
And please her airship, no jab at all.
Oh, seek you drabs with a vengeance. You know them well enough.
Peace, what hast thou to do meddle with the folks' houses?
I care for none of them at all, and if they do, they may go to the next house, and they may have a noble wench, a royal one in a silk gown, come down in a wagon. They can let her see, I warrant you.
Come away then, and she shall follow. Because you say I have studied blades, I appoint you torch-bearer to the devil.
Luce, shall I speak for thee?
I thank God I need none of you to speak for me. It's known well enough what I am, but that there is none of my friends here, I should not be used thus. If Mr. Musonius were here himself, I know he is a kind gentleman.
And she weeps.
Sirrah, observe a good humour. Even now jesting, then scolding, now crying, you shall see her change. 20 to 1. You shall see her sick or with child.
Oh, is your stomach come down?
Alas, was ever a very kind honest wench. Dinna cry so loose. Was not used to rise so soon.
Faith, I'm but a fool to cry. It is nothing but my kind heart that doth me harm, and please God, I'll never do as I have done.
What? Wilt thou then leave being in so good doings?
Thou art a wagger, Faith. I cannot choose but laugh at you.
Now exit laughing. What rules next?
Come now, you've had sport enough. Along with us.
In faith, I could make better sport in bed. I pray thee let me go.
Then we shall never have done. Come away.
Nay, I pray thee, sweetheart. Faith, I'm sick. I had such a sudden qualm come over my stomach. Oh, I pray thee, good brother, give me some aquavitae.
I told you she would be sick.
You shall not need aquavitae. You shall be quickened with a whip.
With a foxtail, will you not? But you may save that labour. My husband hath done it before. I'm quick already, Faith.
What? Hast thou got a husband now?
I have one. If he were here, he would not turn his head from the proudest of you.
Why, where is he?
It is well known where he is. Mr. Tukey knows where he went. Mr. Tukey knows he went the voyage with Captain Carfield. But the worst luck mine, I have not seen him 3 years this day.
How camest thou to be with a child by him then?
Well enough, he came in one night when the ship stayed for him and was gone ere morning. I never saw him. God is my judge. You cannot take me in a lie, I warn you.
What a brazen-faced whore is this? Oh, damn lie.
Dost call me whore that have a husband? I tell thee, I am as honest as thy mother, thou bastard thou, or any of thy kindred. Go thy way.
Nay, God's blood be to play now. Cannot keep her tongue a little. I hope her airships will pair with a foolish wench. Speak in her anger, I cannot tell what.
Let us please her again.
Fontaine.
Luce,
What sayest thou, love?
thou couldst be content not to go.
Faith, I care not whether I went or no. So my brother's 2 barrels of strong beer were drawn, I have under my hand.
Why, thou hast drawn 2 barrels tonight for him. Hast thou not?
Who told you so?
Mr. Niphill.
Kiss Mr. Niphill behind, I defy thee, and all of thy company. Say your worst, you can't find me.
We may as well forbear, truly. We shall never make thee better.
Why, what is she, milksop? What is she?
Why, thou art a cameo, a punk. In plain terms, a mercenary whore.
Thou sayest like an arrant rogue, didst thou ever nick-knock with me?
For the love of God, Luce, hold thy tongue. I cannot tell what I do think.
Who should make me hold my tongue, eh?
Not we, but the clericals shall. Come, help masters.
Oh, my sides go to death. If my child miscarry, I'll make the proudest of you look through a hemping window.
Act 3, Scene 10. Enter Musonius, Philenius. Others on stage remain.
What noise is here? What's the matter with her? Why stand you so long with her?
Oh, Mr. Musonius, they will kill me.
Nay, I warrant thee, thou playest thy prizes now. Carry her away, I say.
You gentlemen, you dogs, you tattered ragtails, you are all knaves, knaves, rogues, bastardly rascals, and all the fathers, grandfathers, great-grandfathers, great-great-grandfathers, mothers, sisters, brothers, cousins, uncles, aunts were all hanged, and so will you be, like damned villains you are, and besides.
Exit Luce.
Come, your way too, sirrah.
And please of our ship, there is none to keep her house.
Well, sirrah, we'll talk with you tomorrow. Then you shall know your punishment.
Thank you, our ship.
This night is almost spent. We will take 2 hours' sleep upon our beds. Then we will go to Mr. Rector to know his pleasure, the dismounting of those repining drudges.
I'll to him as soon as he's up. I dare presume he will do it. He is inclined to it already. But now, let's away.
Exeunt omnes. Everybody exits. So, yeah, we have a lengthy scene of Lucy basically trying to talk her way out of getting arrested. And she tries every single option that her wit can come up with. Sadly, doesn't get away with it. So the first just sort of trying embarrassment of just going, haven't we been together, lads? Be a bit embarrassing if that came out. And tries the tears, tries at least coercing at least one of them into perhaps a little affection. All of the options are sort of played with in different ways, with various different levels of success. Yeah, it's a really interesting scene. Elements of this, and of course then Musonius and Philenius, who wouldn't know a come on if it hit them over the head with a large brick. Come on and just sends her straight to prison. Do not pass go. Do not collect £200. Thoughts in the room? Quite a lengthy, complicated sequence in the sense that as it goes forward. Thoughts that aren't mine. Somebody else. Sarah.
It's not really a very clever thought, but I did laugh to hear Orlando Furioso mentioned, given that this play is called Club Law. I'm now waiting for someone to come on and start clubbing people with a leg.
Yes. Yes, Orlando Furioso, which, does involve a certain level of dismemberment of an unfortunate character.
And beating people up with your dismembered limbs.
With the dismembered leg, yes. Well, you've got to have a gimmick. Yeah, absolutely. Other thoughts? Eric, and then Desna.
I did kind of enjoy that Luce just doesn't she's kind of proud and ballsy, kind of. I think that's the right term for it, because it's kind of like, she just keeps going, and it's like sort of Tavie's like, shut up, and it just gets he gets increasingly desperate to basically get her to shut up, and she's like, well, I've done this job for ages and I don't care what you think. I'm enjoying my job and it earns a lot and I don't give a shit what you think. And it's just kind of, you're all gonna rot in hell kind of vibe. Part of me was like, yeah, go girl, and the other side was like, yeah, this is a bad idea.
Well, she runs rings around most of them, and it's constantly changed position. In theory, these are all officers of the law that they're to arrest and drag her away, and it goes on this long because she talks them. She's constantly, if not bamboozling them, it may be standing still, tap dancing, but it's it is effective for a while. Desna, then Tom.
No, I just wanted to say, I think when this is running at full speed, I think it would be really fun to watch, and just really entertaining, because she is really outwitting them all the time. Well, I mean, eventually she fails to completely outwit them, but yeah, I would really love to see this going at full speed with the trick playing and the manipulation that she's trying.
Yeah, and there's a lot of physical movement, I feel, to this. All of this. This is about moving over here and then moving on to you and then moving on to you and leaving you with you, and but there's also threat to it as well. I think we shouldn't, underestimate that. Because there is physical violence. Okay, she's the one who does it, but with quite violent language as well. The way that Bromly specifically is having none of it. And so so there's definitely different layers as well to potentially to this. Tom.
Yeah, I was just also, there's some beautifully defined characters in this, and not only Cricket and Tavie. I think Desna's doing a fantastic job, because Tavie to me just sounds like some Spike Milligan that just comes in and talks. And I'm looking forward to Tavie coming every time. It's sort of like it has a real injection of a goon type quality, which I find very appealing. And the characters are Tavie and Cricket, and all of them are quite nicely defined and well drawn. So very actable, basically.
Cool. Liza.
Yeah, I mean, echoing what everyone else has said, that this is a bravura scene for Luce, and this is in one scene we get this very complete portrait of a woman who lives by her wits and by her sex appeal, and she exists outside the law in any case, so the law coming for her doesn't necessarily frighten her, it puts her to her wits. And she's kind of uncontrollable by anyone, and I like that about her, that she's sort of pure chaos. There's also some wonderful physical comedy. I think I care not whether I went or no, so my brother's 2 barrels of strong beer were drawn, I have under my hand. It's like that's a sort of common metaphor in early modern texts, that you have, your barrels of beer that need to be tapped with a spigot, and or wine sometimes, or it's a pipe of wine occasionally. But anyway, I wanted to flag up one thing Luce says to one of the searchers, which is, "You have studied plays," which to us, modern people who did English degrees, that's a perfectly reasonable thing to study. But at the time, it means that student has wasted his time and not studied the literature he was supposed to study and gone to plays instead. So that's why he takes offense and says, how dare you say I have studied plays? So what a fun thing.
Angela.
I was just going to say that a really powerful thing that Luce does right at the end is that she curses the searchers, and obviously that's like big stuff to curse. So it's that moment she can be really, really aggressive. So it's not a kind of hopeless thing. It's a really powerful attack of her tongue. So this.
Yeah, and it sort of puts it as a follow-on from the previous scene, which I was trying to make funnier and lighter. Actually, the scene with the wench actually can be more, and the tub can be Daisy, as I've decided her name is from now on. It can actually be a bit darker. This play is playing around with. There are more levels to this. It's not all just silly names and things. There is some levels to it, which I'm liking. There are options here to play with tone, which I wasn't seeing initially. So that's pleasing me. Eric.
I kind of like how you don't really know what Luce is going to... I mean, we know what Luce is going to do next because she's kind of in the script and so on and so forth, but it's kind of like just sort of, well, you've got a husband now. Why didn't you mention him all along? And it's just kind of that thing of like, oh yeah, you're just making shit up now. But also, I half expected her to say it was an immaculate conception, or something along those lines, because it was just like sort of, I just need to get away from this situation. And also, let's not forget that Luce is the only woman in this situation, so the threat is real if you think about it.
Yeah, yes, she tells the story the husband doesn't get the detail right, and then, oh, my child, I hope it will not miscarry because of your rough treatment of me, and all these things are being thrown into the mix, and not unknown forms of defence. Anyway, we must complete our session with one and a bit scenes. Act 4, Scene 1. Sarah, I'm going to ask you to continue being Catch. I think it's fine. And Act 4, Scene 1. Enter Rumford and Catch.
By the mass, I have been with my good Billy Colby. He swears he will not put it up, and told me, believe me, he would go out to prison. So, Faith, we have laid our poles in Colby's storehouse, and believe me, we thwack their jacks. See, here is Catch. Marry, he's a good Stramel lad. I'll let him know all. Here is Tom. Catch, whither gank's Tom now?
I must go fetch a clean shirt for Mr. Burgomaster in prison.
Nay, Faith, we send some other. Thou stay with me.
Why, I pray you?
Because I take thee to be a bonny lad and a good honest fellow as any of our town, and because I think thou'll tell no living creature, I'll tell thee.
Faith, for my honesty, I am as honest as any man of my office can be. I think I am no blab of my tongue. But, sir, what's the matter?
Thou canst tell how these jacks, gentle Athenians, misused us and imprisoned Mr. Burgomaster and Mr. Colby. The scrubs are so perk now. If we do not take them down a hole lower, the slaves will crow over us.
Take heed what you do. They are seen in the black art. They will make us all dance naked.
The devil they will, and thou'll take my counsel. We's go thwack 'em, we's make their coats yelp.
So we may pull down houses on our heads and be well lambed ourselves. But I am but one, and I'll help you in anything.
Thou says well. Thou hast true blood in thee. Thou knowest tonight is holy day, and there will be waste of play, and there's not a gentle Athenian but will gang thither. And when they are there, we's so clap-a-claw them that we's make their sides walk.
But they have pestilent things called clubs.
Po, we have the same too, and mickle long staves. And all the lads in the town shall be mustered, and faith, we's pay them back and side.
Well, sir, we must not spare, but let the town know of it.
Faith, I'll gang and tell our lads of it, and thou's get thy companions and tell them of it. Hark thou me.
Well, you had best be gone quickly and make haste. But where are your weapons?
Why, here in Colby's storehouse. Gang thou that way, and I'll gang this and meet here again.
I'll go first to my fellow Tavie and tell him of it, and then I'll provide all the youths on this side of the town and bring them to his house.
Aye, do, my bonny lad.
And they exit. Oh, there's a counter movement from the working people of the town against these academics coming over here, saying we can't visit houses of ill repute, arresting our burgomaster. Yes, there's it's club law all round. It's the people are revolting. Liza.
There's something that I was throwing around in my head last session about Rumford, and this scene I think confirms it, that Rumford is a Scot. So we've got all the comedy Celts in this play. All we need is someone Irish, and maybe someone who's better informed about Irishisms on stage in the early modern era can spy if there is one.
Yes, Rumford is a butcher, I think, isn't he? Yes, Rumford is a butcher. So yeah, a bonny lad does suggest Scottish, doesn't it? Yes, Eric.
Well, also, Cricket was going on about his Scottish dagger, but I don't know if that was particularly like sort of a reference to an actual dagger or something else? But no.
Yes, there's always that risk that any sharp implement references are sexual, I suppose. With this play,
I do think Cricket was talking about an actual dagger because he talked about having stolen it from his tutor.
Yeah.
So even though there's a lot of double entendres in this play, the title itself maybe being one, I don't think that was one.
Alas, it's always sad. But yes, and it's always important the vice to have a dagger because otherwise he's not a proper vice, is he? So anyway, we have one bit of a scene to go. Act 4, Scene 2. Enter Musonius and Mistress Colby.
The filthy runt can scarce reach up to one of their heads with his staff, and yet he must be captain of this enterprise. Yet I am sorry for nothing but that my husband, as Rumford says, must come out of prison soon. And now, forsooth, we have the staves laid up in his storehouse to beat the gentleman. I'faith, I love them too well to suffer them to take any harm. And i'faith, I'll prevent them of their purpose if I can but meet with Mr. Musonius. Oh, and yonder he is. Hearken what he says.
As soon as I awaked, I sent Philenius to Mr. Rector for to inform him of our success, and withal to procure the mechanics might be dismounted. And oftentimes our worthy rector mentioned it unto me. But thy fortunes, Philenius, answer my thoughts, and we shall oppose to our gracious aspect the image of true humility. But now, as I suppose this is the day we should be clubbed, I am come to hear the certainty of my gossip Colby. 20 to 1, she will tell all in a passion. But yonder she is. God save you, Mistress Colby.
Mr. Musonius, you come as just as Jermyn's lip. Oh, if he had not come, I had sent for you. Come, let's have a loving kiss.
Must you needs have one? I'll never deny such a reasonable request.
Good Lord, reasonably? Reasonable? I'faith, you are too reasonable. But why did ye not come the last night? I'faith, you are to blame. But I am as good as my word. I have learned out all their knaveries.
And what? Must we be cudgelled?
Aye, needs for they are all preparing staves, and are all gone to get the young youths of the town to help. I warrant you they begin the sport anon. If I were a man, I would take your part. Never credit me if I would not.
If thou wert a woman, thou shouldst have more modesty. But, sweetheart, thou shouldst not. But I pray you, where do they lay their staves?
Well, Rumford, by my husband's appointment, hath laid them up in my husband's storehouse.
Couldst thou but help us to them, thou shouldst gain unto thyself an eternal lover.
Should I indeed? Faith, it shall go hard, but I will.
If thou dost, thou gainest me forever.
Well, I'll do it. Never trust me if I do not. I'll see one of these days what you will do. But now I go to my wits to perform my promise. Within this hour come, or send for them. All of our men will be a-drinking, and so you may get them away.
I pray you, remember.
Exit Mistress Colby.
Aye, this kindness ever. Who could want such an iniquity for an instrument at such a time, at such an enterprise? Inconstant flirts that seek to injure their husbands' beds and disclosing of secrets. But this is strange, Philenius meets me not. I hope the rector will not deny his suit, tending to the reformation of such crimes as doth both prejudice both him and us. Had it been effected sooner, ere this, they had been made to stoop, and with bending knees to show their submission.
Enter Philenius.
Mr. Rector has dismissed Colby upon small consideration. Like enough that he might feel the greatest smart that he might procure, but Niphill is fast for a while. How now, Musonius, what grown malcontent?
Ruminating of the success.
Bury these thoughts. Our will shall be accomplished. Our actor, with unexpected willingness, effected speedily what I desired. He gave me his counsel, and therewithal provided that, by his bills dispersed in every place, intelligence might be had of his decrees. To testify what I avouch to be true, see, here's one of them. Read it, I pray you.
He gives him the bill.
To the governors and rulers of several societies.
And sadly, there's a page missing, and that's all we have time for. Yes, sadly, the end of Scene 2, Scene 3, and the beginning of Scene 4 are lost to time. We will never know. Well, we'll probably be able to guess what it is. But yeah, the finer points as to what the governors and rulers of several societies have actually put down in writing will be forever absent. Unless it's found one day. So yes, Mistress Colby and Musonius. Mistress Colby not really having the success she was hoping for there. Though from Musonius' side, it does seem like he's sort of cognizant that he's sort of using her on some level there. It does feel like he's manipulating her. Whereas last time it seemed more in ignorance, where it seemed almost like it's just going, "Oh, must I? Oh, well, I suppose if that keeps you happy." That how it read to me. I don't know if it read that way to others. I could be wrong. Angela.
Well, my memory of this is right towards the very beginning. The two scholars, Musonius and Philenius, they say the only way that they're going to get at the town people is to make up to a couple of women. So I thought that was their plan all along. Is that not right?
No. If that's what it was, I mean, if I'm just, forgetting things is, entirely part of the process. Obviously, watching it in performance, you wouldn't, because time doesn't pass as far. Liza, then Sarah.
Musonius. I think the view of Musonius and Philenius as more or less oblivious to women unless prodded is kind of accurate. That they talk about, one must be careful of stereotypes, but they talk about each other in a very affectionate way. And they say, our loves are enclosed in our secret hearts. And while it was commonplace for male friends to express love using that word, we could also have a gag about how students, part of the unruliness of students is not just that they're all violent, but that they may all have sexualities that are outside what is permitted by the church.
And of course, what this scene is doing is, the Musonius knows that there's an uprising possibly pointing in their direction, and is trying to ensure that they are the only ones who have weapons, so that they actually basically going to make sure the available weapon. Always make sure you have the cache of weapons under your control. It's a very important thing in any kind of battle. So yes, that's partly what Musonius is trying to arrange here. Sarah.
Yes, obviously I wasn't here last time, so I don't know how he read in the first two acts. But to me, in that last scene, that's the only scene I've seen where he's with Mistress Colby. But it seemed to me that he was less oblivious and more distasteful. It's like he is this academic, he's this lofty academic with possibly platonic or otherwise love, as Liza, said for his colleagues, for his fellow scholar. And really he's aware of what he's doing. And I got the impression he was aware of what she wanted, because he said to her, oh yes, thou gainest me forever. You'll have me as an eternal lover. And he's like, oh, well, do I have to kiss you? Oh, I suppose I do. Fair enough. It's like he does know the game he's playing. It's not that he's oblivious to the game. He just doesn't really want to play it. He's like, he finds her really quite revolting, probably, but he's playing it in order to get what he wants. And that line that he had, in constant flirts that seek to injure their husbands' beds and disclosing of secrets. I mean, he clearly knows there what she's up to and the game he's playing too. That's how I read it anyway. But maybe he's changed. If he was very oblivious in the first couple of acts, maybe he's gone on a journey. Someone sat him down and given him the talk.
Tom and then Eric.
I think the part of the tension, the comedy between the academics and the slightly more vulgar women is that the vulgar women have vulgar desires and the academics have more sort of like academic, but they need to get information about what's going to happen. So they've hit upon this plan and they constantly get thrust up against these women, and it's a nice again well-defined characters.
Yes, they've read about the existence of sex, but outside of certain plant species, I don't think they're probably high up on the nature of how it all works. Of course, this is an opinion of a view of academia, which of course doesn't necessarily have any connection with real life, in terms of the levels of sex that are associated with academic bodies. I don't know if anyone wants to comment on that in the room. Eric.
I was just going to say that it's interesting having done the sort of Wench and Luce scene after that, and now reading that scene, observing that scene. It's just interesting to see what this play is doing with like the roles of women, because like sort of Luce, who is not married presumably, or was, but we don't know where her husband is kind of, well, I mean, aside from being defenseless because of her profession, she kind of doesn't, like, she sticks up for herself, she'll kick anybody's ass and that kind of thing, whereas Mistress Colby uses similar methods to get like fun, like sort of things that she feels her husband isn't giving her. I don't know, it's just sort of interesting, the whole dynamic that you get between all these characters.
Yes, I mean they do have agency. The women within the play. I mean, they're not as big a part, and they aren't as numerous, but they do want to do something, and they go out and do it, or attempt to. They are not always successful, but there is activity going on there. Liza.
Well, if this is, I mean, there's an element of this play that's order versus chaos, and the students represent chaos, and Cricket represents chaos, but the women also are unruly. They refuse to let their sexuality be governed by the limits of marriage or by the limits of chastity. So, in a way, they're just as much agents of chaos as Cricket is.
And now that we're 2/3 of the way through the play, I mean, one of these interesting things, we keep talking about sort of being town and gown. We meet two academics, we've got one young student, and that's everybody else is sort of a member of the sort of town body and or just members of townsfolk. We don't really meet many students. There's this sort of nebulous, dangerous force, but actually, there's almost they're not there.
Well, Musonius and Philenius are students, and I don't know if Cricket is a student or not.
I don't know whether Philenius or Musonius are students or whether they're more higher up the academic chain.
I think they're students. I could be wrong.
The thing is that you could be a student. You could have got your first degree and be doing your masters. Whereas Cricket is a boy.
Yeah.
So he is just come in. He's got a tutor and things like that. So I think that they are all students. But I think that the point is that these two are among the fellowship. They are, and they're ruled by the rector, and they speak to the rector and all that kind of thing. So they're in that different kind of position within college society.
Because they've got to have some authority, otherwise they wouldn't be able to, the arrests wouldn't work. Because they're brought in because they have some level of authority within the town. Or the crossover between the town. But, whereas the electors, we got hundreds of them earlier in the play. I mean, we meet so many people from the town side, but we meet, we've only got 3 from this side. So it's a weird balance. I suppose partly because it's presumably all played by students. They don't want to play their own students. They want to play the people that they want to be spoofing, which is the point of the exercise. Because if they played themselves, then the gag isn't perhaps there in the same way. Eric?
Yeah, I was just thinking that it's interesting that we bring up the numbers, because obviously sort of like Musonius and Philenius are kind of the gentle Athenians, but now they're sort of basically trying to find ways to beat other people up, to defend themselves, supposedly. So I'm not sure how gentle they are. And also just gentle seems to counter, like it might refer more to their birth rather than their station, rather than their behavior, it seems, because obviously sort of they're what do you call it, they're not being particularly noble or honest towards the women either, unless being chaste and protecting sort of women's maidenhead and all that stuff is considered to be
and it's this question of the status of the searchers as well. I mean, I was taking them to be sort of proctors, but again that doesn't hold how that functions as well, because of course would they listen to the students? They'd listen to the rector. So yeah, interesting questions, of which we don't have to have the final answers on now. Tom, any final thoughts? I'm going to go to you for whatever you wanted to say, but also we're going to go to final thoughts now about the play overall so far.
Yeah, I was about to say that the town and gown are usually within definitely defined areas, maybe like Oxford and Cambridge with rivers, and there is definite tension between, but the play is set in the town with all of the other those characters, and in the background there is but yeah, it's definitely set within the town, and the gown is a different environment, environs somewhere off stage, shall we say.
Desna, any final thoughts on the play so far?
Nothing that's worth sharing with the rest of the world. No, I think all my thoughts have come out as we've gone along.
Fair enough. Liza, any final thoughts?
Well, yeah, just that I'm really enjoying this play. It is full of characters that just leap off the page at you. It's not one... I mean, yes, there are a fair amount of in-jokes that you have to sort of dig for, but if a director got the world building right, the play would basically run itself, although there are lacunae, there are bits one would have to fill in. But mangled as it is, it shines. It's absolutely a lovely play, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next.
Yes, I mean it has been rather fun. It won't be long before we do indeed finish the text off. Angela, any final thoughts from you?
I think the thing that I'm quite interested in here is that there is no virtue. That there's nobody. Who do you want to win? Actually, you don't know. They're all pretty awful. So it's kind of interesting to me that there is this just that just everybody is as bad as each other. Of course, it's highly misogynistic. Nobody at university is supposed to have any sort of dealings with women, and they're all vile, obviously. But it did strike me that there are no heroes as well as no heroines in this.
Yeah, I mean, if we compare it with something like Glass of Government, which to a degree has a similar sort of plot which suffer from a different problem. Glass of Government, there is an excess of academic material, treatise length periods of prognostication, whereas here we have gaps in the text. But there you have a very clear moral schema throughout the whole thing. You know exactly where the text is taking you. You know, you shouldn't go off and have fun times out with sex workers. You should do your studies. You shouldn't waste your parents' money. You should study studiously. This play has no interest in telling us that at all. It is presenting us with a world and characters who are doing things in this world. And people are just going to get beaten up, and they're going to get comeuppances, but nobody's being put forward as an exemplar at all. Eric, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to remember what we did last week, because I remember there was the whole election scene was kind of longish and self-indulgent in a way that was not dramatically interesting, although it was kind of basically people sort of going, oh, how many people are here? Okay, we can vote. It's fine. Yeah, it's an interesting play, and I kind of want to workshop some of the scenes, although I have no idea how workshops on scenes work, which is why you're here, which is why you're in charge. I mean, and sort of, yeah. I know that there are no heroes in this play, but I kind of wanted Luce to kick their ass, just like break free, jailbreak. I don't know, maybe, and sort of Mistress Colby to sort of, I don't know, maybe find a new lover. Yeah, because she deserves it. And yeah, I don't know. It's also interesting the sort of what's happening with status and class in this play, as well as gender, because you've got the whole, like, the Colliers are being treated differently than the academics, and sort of I think it was Mistress Colby who mentioned that her husband is not in jail because he was let off, but then what's his face, Niphill is not let off, so it's kind of, I don't know, the sort of questions of status are interesting as well.
Yes, last time we had all this stuff with Brecknock and more from Niphill, and it was the sort of absurdity of the system, and that apparently men must have holds. So yeah, it was playing slightly different gags, but playing was still with a fair amount of aplomb. Sarah, you haven't been here for the previous session, so you've sort of dived in. Any final thoughts?
Nothing really that other people haven't already said. I thought what Angela said was really interesting, and it reminded me slightly. You actually used the word vile, Angela, and I immediately thought of Evil and War. Even though there aren't that many gown players in this, it to me it has that kind of very slick, very surface, very witty, quite cruel, but it's so funny that you kind of forgive it vibe to it that you get in War much later on, and that could potentially be a way to stage it, because like when you think of those sort of glittering madcap 20s stories, you do tend to think of the upper class characters, but actually a lot of the comic characters are lower class, and written with that same kind of slightly patronizing but very, very funny and still very well rounded approach. And I think Liza's right, it does shine, it does glitter, and so yeah, I've had fun with it.
Excellent. Right. We have come this far. We've hit our second lacuna of the text. It should now flow smoothly through to the end. Next time, all that remains, unless anyone has any final thoughts they want to throw in, is to thank all the wonderful readers for all their wonderful reading. Thank you very much, everyone, and goodbye. Didst thou ever nick-knock with me?